It's a pleasure to stand in front of you this evening to propose Johnny Mills for the role of Treasurer for our new exec. As a senior prep, I knew that I could always count on Johnny to rise to the occasion as a willing helper and a team player. Having seen him in action, I know Johnny is trustworthy, and with him as Treasurer, you can be sure your money is in good hands. He likes to keep organised. I'm told he's even been known to turn down a game of FIFA to update his personal finance spreadsheet. He has experience as a junior treasurer for college, giving of his time generously as treasurer of both Lyme Winter Ball and HSBC. He has shown on numerous occasions his dedication and commitment to any position of responsibility he has undertaken, which I believe makes him the perfect candidate for the role of treasurer. Johnny is someone who I can say with full confidence is a true Hatfielder. As a freshers rep, he was no stranger to the dreaded graveyard shift, sitting at the gates until the last of the fresh made it back, and rhythmically banging on pans down the corridors of PG in the mornings. Beyond Freshers Week, he's been known to spend a night or two in college on several occasions, always willing to go that extra mile to make sure Hatfield students are well looked after. With Matt Henry leaving the exec, there is a spot to be filled for shameless plugging on open mic nights. Another area where Johnny showed his willingness to participate and his embodiment of the infamous Hatfield spirit. I believe Johnny is someone who possesses all the qualities necessary for taking over as treasurer. He has an impressive track record, is trustworthy, and is a true Hatfielder. I know he would strive to do his utmost for college and would be a real asset to the new exec and our future JCR. I have no doubt Johnny is the right guy to take on the role as our next treasurer. I hope he gets your support, and I wish him all the best of luck.
Okay, so first question. Since becoming a DSL, the JCR is now registered under the university-backed umbrella. Although I don't want all the ins and outs because that's really boring, could you give a brief outline of how VAT will work within college?
So VAT is basically a tax on business transactions, and that goes with business transactions and also transactions with consumers. At the moment, as most of you know, it's 20%, and there are some specific products that are actually exempt from that. As a JCR, the money that we take in, our income, we have to pay VAT on that, but we can then claim that back on our expenditure. So to use Lyme Winter Ball as an example, the ticket sales that we make, we pay VAT on that, but then on things like marquees and lighting, we'll then claim VAT back on that, so it kind of balances out sides.
As treasurer, you chair the JCR Finance Committee, where clubs and societies can commit applications for funding. How would you deal with the clubs who want money, but the committee does not want to offer finance? So, say a club comes and they want finance, but the committee decides that they don't want to do it. How would you deal with that?
I think, so just to give you an idea, this finance committee happens once a term at the beginning of term. And I think in all cases to do with finance and the JCI, just thinking about transparency. So if there are reasons why the committee said no to this funding, there are clearly good reasons for that. And I just think it's about talking to our club, explaining why that decision's been made, and maybe how they can go around not being successful with that funding application.
Being JCR treasurer has taken up a massive proportion of my time. How will you cope with the workload of becoming treasurer when it's term?
It's the same old organisation skills, planning in advance. I've proven, I think, this year, being HSBC treasurer, Lyme Winter Ball treasurer, Shapes champion, that I can manage my time well. And I just think I would continue to do that by planning ahead and being organised with my work and things like that.
Since we went into the DSL last year, the cash flow under the Treasurer's direct remit has grown in almost double, up to £100,000. From your understanding of the finances, what are the main incomings and outgoings in the account, and also how would you handle the responsibility of overseeing such a large account?
So the main incomings I understand to be the levies that we all pay when we first joined college. The main outgoings are things like clubs and societies, I know there's a project fund, so things like the gym, upkeep of the bar, things like that, they're the main kind of things that the expenditure goes to. In terms of maintaining the account responsibly, I just think it's about, again, planning ahead, maintaining a buffer. The Line Rental Board Committee will tell you all about buffers and how important they are. So I think that's key, but also about planning and leaving yourself room for error in any unexpected costs.
Recently, we've made the switch to online banking, which brings significant development for the JCR finances. How do you continue to develop finances and move forward?
I think the online banking, the purchase card introduction is a really good one. I think actually the key, given that change that's just come in, is actually consolidation with that. I think we're probably going to see some teething problems and just kind of trying to put processes in place for how that's used. So I think that would be my key aim in the development of the finances for the year.
So clubs and societies are entitled to their own budget and their account, and they may spend it however they wish. If you disagreed with some of the uses of a particular club or society's money and you felt it was inappropriate, at what point would you step in?
I think this kind of thing is just a case-by-case basis. Fundamentally, as JCR Treasurer, you're not directly responsible for their account. It's their treasurer and their president that have the direct control over that. If there were ridiculous things, clearly it would be a case of talking to the individuals, saying, trying to get them to explain why that expenditure is justified, and if it's not, ultimately telling them it's not allowed. And again, think about the finance committee. If they're asking for money at the beginning of the term, if they spent the money on something ridiculous the previous term, then clearly you can just pull that money until they're willing to spend the money more appropriately.
What do you currently know about sponsorship of sports teams?
I know that a number of sporting teams are sponsored. I know there are also a number that aren't and probably should be. This is something we've been trying to skill with the boat club. I also know that this year, or maybe the year before, there was a sort of more structured approach to the sponsorship process. So we're now required to fill in a form as a club, just to ensure that both parties know exactly what they're being sponsored for and what the expectations of both parties are, just to ensure the security of both those parties.
Any questions from the floor?
How are you looking to make JCR money more transparent to communities and where your money is being spent on?
Well, the first thing I'd say is that as a JCR member, anyone is allowed to go and ask the treasurer to see the account. I don't see any reason. This is something we did the Line Rental Board, is that we put a pie chart on our website which outlines in percentage terms where all the money's gone, because I think that's been an issue before. So I guess that's something we could look to introduce on the JCR website. It doesn't need to be particularly specific, but just to give a general idea of where money is being spent. I think there's no reason why that should be available to people.
Any other questions?
How will you encourage art societies to use the funding that the JCR can provide?
I'd actually broaden that. I know in the last finance committee only 3 clubs applied, and it's really frustrating because there is that money available, and Ian Curry and the Hatfield Trust very kindly support it, and it's not really being used. So I think I'd give further encouragement to treasurers and presidents of all clubs and societies, including the Art Society, just to try and encourage them to use it.
Any last questions?
You mentioned how you'd be transparent in presenting accounts. How would you make sure that prospective students, before they came to Hatfield, were aware of the levies and the things that they were going to be charged, and that it was being spent on worthwhile things?
I think again, putting it on the website is probably adequate for both senses. I know there's a prospective students area of the website, which I guess prospective students are going to look at, and that's something that I think could be included on that page, as well as the pages for current students.
Any final questions? Which is 2 minutes.
I just wanted to draw your attention quickly to an idea that I put in my manifesto, and that's the idea of using a treasury room. A few years ago there was a welfare room, and it's kind of accepted that that's just the norm now, and I think that there's an opportunity to have the same kind of idea for the treasurer. There are two main reasons I think that this would be useful. The first is that the treasurer is required to hold treasurer hours, and I think it would be more appropriate for treasurer hours to be held in a neutral location rather than a bedroom. It's a massive account, and I think it's more professional to be held in a sort of specific location rather than as a bedroom. The second reason, more specifically, is just the fact that the treasurer is required to look after his safe, and I just think it should be more secure to have it in a specialised location, locked with maybe only 2 key holders, rather than a bedroom that could easily just be left open by, say, cleaning or whoever else. Other than that, just to reiterate, as Abby said, I've got quite a lot of experience being treasurer for various things, and I'd really appreciate the opportunity to represent you and oversee the account on your behalf.